All right, guys, my next guest is known as the Hypnotic Heartbreak Healer with the power of hypnosis and neuro-linguistic programming. He helps those going through a breakup get over their heartbreak faster so that they can bring passion and purpose back into their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, he's in the Peek Thru right now. All right, guys, right here we have my man, Kevin Cole. What's up, Kevin?
Hey, I'm doing well. How about you, Finch?
Man, I am doing fantastic. So you have this thing, this fantastic formula where you're helping people across the nation get over breakup fast. And people have been asking me all week, I can't wait to hear this. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Getting over breakup fast is a bold statement that many people talk about. So before we get into how you help people do that, let's get into how you came to be Kevin Cole in this whole room, man.
Yeah, well, I actually, a lot of how I became Kevin Cole, the breakup healer, was in the beginning. I needed to learn how to get over a breakup. I was a train wreck back in the day, over 24 years ago, and and I thought that I was quote unquote codependent. But what I learned along my journey was I wasn't codependent. I lacked independency. I didn't know how to be happy on my own. I didn't know how to feel good within myself, and I had no clue what it meant to really love yourself, which is one of the most important things to do with getting over a breakup is to really learn and experience how to love yourself. That's in a tiny nutshell or in a short period of time. That's how I got into this line of work.
So you're known as the hypnotic heartbreaker or heartbreak healer.
That too.
Not the heartbreaker, but the
guilty of that one
healer,
too,
right?
Yeah.
So how does hypnosis play a vital part in helping people get over a breakup?
Yeah, in so many different ways, but for simplicity, not like what you see on TV and the movies. I get at least once a week these days, I get calls from people saying, okay, I need hypnosis to forget my ex. If it was that simple, I'd be a multi-millionaire, first of all. But no, it's not about that. But really, the thing is that hypnosis, understandably, most people don't understand it because what's the regular citizen's knowledge of hypnosis? Where does it come from? TV and movies.
Right.
What's TV and movies? Look into my eyes. You're in my power. Blah 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 blah.
Swing the pendulum, right?
Exactly. It's nothing like that at all. But it is a powerful way to tap into your subconscious and to be able to experience profound feelings, profound emotions. And a well-trained hypnotist will know how to help somebody, to start loving themselves, to literally, and a really well-trained hypnotist knows also how to help somebody to fall out of love with someone else, with the person that they might be obsessing over. And I listened in on some of your guys' conversation. I think you guys are talking about toxic relationships. Mm-hmm. That's one that I oftentimes help people to really fall out of love with that very toxic relationship, and to fall in love with themselves, but not in a narcissistic sense, but to really experience self-love.
Now, for those who might be watching or listening, do you find that in your practice and profession that a number of people are not really in tune with what true love really is? They just have an idea of or a fascination with what love could be.
Huge, absolutely. I mean, I've been in my early days when I was, like I said, when I was the train wreck that I was. I fell in love, and I fell in love hard. Mm. And yes, that was love, but I have a much better understanding of what true love is now. True love doesn't freak out because somebody isn't they don't text you back, although back in those days yes. Literally, yes. It's like when it's love as opposed to infatuation, little dramatic pause, let that sink in, because I think a lot of people get those confused, and they allow the jealousy to become too strong. I don't think jealousy is a particularly unhealthy emotion in small bites, but I think for far too many people, it gets way too strong. That jealousy gets way too strong, and that's not love. That's fear. That's insecurity. That's not love. Love should not hurt. Fear, insecurity. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Kevin. Wait a minute, Kevin.
I know.
You're saying that me being hurt, that's not love? Them hurting me, that's not love, Kevin?
I said it. Absolutely. The thing is that, and I'm glad we brought this up. The thing that's true. Okay. Now, of course, every single time I've gone through a breakup, I hurt. Of course.
Okay.
But it wasn't love that was hurting. It was the fear. It was the insecurity. It was the false belief that love was dependent on that other person. And, that love is gone now. I can't feel those feelings anymore because that person's not there, which is false. Mm-hmm. All emotions come from within inside of us. And it's not anybody's fault, by the way, that people don't know this. We're not taught this stuff. We're taught the exact opposite. Okay, what's the classic song? I forget who sings it. Love hurts. But it's drilled into our brain since birth.
Yeah.
But no, that's not love. It's something else. Again, it's fear, insecurity, all of that. Of course, when you go through a breakup, of course you're going to feel hurt. At least most breakups.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are watching right now, and they're hurting over the love of their favorite sports team during this COVID football season.
A lot of people are going to be hurting tomorrow. About half the country is going to be hurting tomorrow.
Oh my goodness. So let's talk about somebody, let's say, because we're talking about getting over a breakup fast. If you guys are just joining us, if you're joining via YouTube or Facebook, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you click the notification bell so that you're notified each and every time a new episode appears. But let's talk about the breakup factor, because oftentimes we've invested so much into a person or a situation, and it's difficult for us to tear away from this situation or even this person to get over this period. Like, you got some people right now who have been over maybe divorced for 3, 4, 5, 10, sometimes longer than that. What would you say to somebody right now who's listening or watching? How do they move past that period of turmoil or injury?
A few things. One, first, I want to normalize it, okay, and say that it's absolutely normal. Now, you're going to have plenty of people, most likely have plenty of people who are going to say, but he or she was a jerk anyway, just get over it. If this wasn't radio, I'd say F them.
Well, this is grown folks radio, so you can say it on here.
Okay, good. Because nonetheless, I normalize it for them, but I also help them to normalize it literally on a neuroscientific level. Both because it helps them to just feel validated, which I think most of us like to feel. It's like, hey, I'm hurting. There's a legitimate reason for this. I'm not making this stuff up in my head. So I normalize it, and I'll get into the neuroscience in just a moment. But then I help them to take actions to start changing the way that they feel. Okay. So in regards to normalizing it and just having like a foundation, throw a little bit of fancy neuroscience stuff at you for a moment. In our brain, we have what's called the amygdala. Okay. Now, there's technically 2 of them. They're about the size of an almond. The one on the left is actually in charge of happier feelings. That's not important when you're getting over a breakup. It's the one on the right, which is in charge of fight, flight, or freeze. Okay. And this is the stress and anxiety part of our brain that massively overfires. If it's a painful breakup, if we're feeling that fear, that insecurity, that I don't know what I'm going to do, or that obsession to want to call them or text them or whatever, that amygdala is massively overfiring. And here's where it gets really bad. We have this other part of our brain that's called the prefrontal cortex. This is the part of our brain that allows us to be able to think more clearly, to think more rationally, to not pick up the phone and be like, okay, but I got to text them one last time. To literally do better on a test. Some people, they might be really smart, know all the answers. They go into that testing room that amygdala starts overfiring, it shuts down that rational, clear thinking part of our brain.
Okay.
Not necessarily like a light switch, although it can feel that way sometimes, but definitely like a dimmer switch. And there's another part of our brain and our body that's called the vagus nerve. Okay, spelled VAGUS, but pronounced like Las Vegas. This is the part of our brain and our body that's in charge of keeping everything in balance. Fancy word being homeostasis.
Okay.
And really, for most people in our society, our country, our culture, their amygdala is overfiring and their vagus nerve is understimulated. So understanding that foundation, it's like, oh, okay, so there's actually neurological reason for this. And the thing is, going all the way back to Stone Age, okay, theoretically, okay, it's a useful metaphor. We don't know if we were ever around, and when saber-tooth tigers and whatnot, we don't know for sure. But walking outside of our cave, here comes a saber-tooth tiger. We don't have time to think rationally. Okay. We either need to try to fight that thing, text that thing, in this case, or we're like thinking like, oh, what do I do? Okay, I got to text and save that relationship. But again, fight that thing, run away from that thing, or freeze, play dead, and hope we're not lunch in the case of a saber-tooth tiger. But again, that part of our brain is still doing that, and it does that in breakups as well. So how do we stop it? How do we slow down that amygdala, stimulate that vagus nerve, and simply put, how do we start feeling more in balance, more in emotional control? The first, most important thing is proper breathing. Now, if your audience is like most of my clients, then a part of them is thinking breathing. Yeah, people tell me, oh, just breathe. But most people don't have a clue how to breathe properly. Most people they breathe shallow from their chest. I've taught yoga instructors that'll ask them to take a deep breath in, and they'll do the same. They'll go, and that's not the way we're supposed to breathe. Okay.
What's the proper way?
The proper way is to be breathing from our diaphragm, just a fancy word for our belly. Okay. Thing is, our diaphragm's right about here. It's designed to drop down into our belly area. The camera can't see it, but drop down into our belly area. And when we inhale, the belly should expand. Most people, when they take a deep breath in, they suck in their belly.
I'm checking mine right now because I got a daddy body, but I don't have any kids.
A lot of that going on with COVID these days. I have to watch the dad bod myself. I'm like, I used to be a skinny dude. What's happening? But nonetheless, so when we inhale, we should be letting our belly expand. That's really foundation for everybody, going through a breakup or not, but especially when we're experiencing high anxiety, which I'm sure probably one or two of your listeners are dealing with a little bit of anxiety tonight.
Right.
But that's number one. Now, another one that is, it just plain sounds woo-woo, but I'm gonna quickly throw the neuroscience because I already laid the solid foundation, so I can say it fast. I'm gonna share with you that Om chanting, Om, which probably to most people understandably said, what? That's woo-woo as hell.
Right.
But there's actually modern day neuroscience to back up why these bald dudes in orange robes have been doing this for thousands of years. Mm-hmm. Because it freaking works. They show in MRIs, technically fMRIs, functional MRIs, which means kind of like a movie versus a still picture. It shows that absolutely it slows down that amygdala, that right amygdala, and it stimulates the vagus nerve better than really just about anything that I know of that we can do ourselves. Okay. Literally medical science is come a long way, and they actually have medical devices that sometimes they implant in people that are dealing with severe anxiety, severe depression, and sometimes epilepsy. And they actually implant something called a vagus nerve stimulator. But you know what? You don't need it if you're willing to practice stimulating your own vagus nerve. And if people that are just now tuning in probably think, well, what is he talking about now? He's talking about stimulating the vagus nerve. Yes, it's the joy of stimulating your vagus nerve that you're learning tonight. But nonetheless, by just Om chanting, okay, and I'll demonstrate briefly, but just taking a deep breath in through your diaphragm, through your belly. Mm-hmm. This microphone will probably tune it out because it's designed to tune out noise, and it sounds like noise when I Om chant, but just simply taking a deep breath in. Okay, for the sake of time, I won't do it as long as I normally do. And I don't know
how long do you normally do that?
I will do it I'll do it until I'm out of breath.
What? You passing out on me, Kevin?
No. It actually.
Kevin be at home and fall out the chair, man. Come on, Kevin.
I'm not picking up the phone. They're like, "Oh, he's home chanting again." Don't worry, he's okay. He's just home chanting again. But I promise your listeners, do it. Just do 5 ohms as lengthy as you can. Make sure to do the humming part. I promise you, if you check in before and after doing that, you will notice a significant difference, even after just 5. Okay. Imagine setting your timer, letting it, doing for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. And it works. There's a reason why it's been practiced for thousands of years. And as a side note, they've done many studies on the power of just diaphragmatic belly breathing, which is the first part of doing that, of chanting. Singing, they found, also stimulates the vagus nerve and slows down the amygdala. What's chanting? It's bad singing.
I was going to say that's called shower singing. We call that shower singing.
There you go. But also humming. Interestingly enough, they've actually done studies on people where they've just had them hum, and they found it helps. It's not like a miracle thing where instantly, everything's perfect in life, but it helps balance them out emotionally. They've done it with people dealing with clinical depression. They found it helps greatly. Anxiety, and again, interestingly enough, with epilepsy, they found that it helps to minimize seizures. It doesn't cure epilepsy or anything like that, but it does minimize seizers. Okay. Yeah.
Now, Kevin, give people how they can connect with you if they want to connect to you outside of the show.
Yeah, simple. You can go to my website, www.getovanbreakupfast.com. There's a free download there. You get some other great tips. And if anybody would like to work with me personally, you can give me a call direct. We'll have a conversation, see if we're a good match. But you can just simply call me at 702-626-4901.
All right. Well, thank you, Kevin, for joining us, man. We really appreciate you. You guys check out Kevin Cole. He's going to teach you how to get over a breakup fast, and he has something free on his website. So make sure you stop by. Thanks so much for joining us, Kevin, man. We'll have you back again soon so we can keep talking. All right. Cool. Thanks, Finch. Have a great one, everybody. All right. All right, guys, when we come back, everybody's favorite security expert is right here. It's Off the Fence. I'm Finch. Yo. You're in the mix.
The world's finest, man. DJ.
Off the radio on the tele.